If you'd like to know how to become a company doctor or an occupational health physician, then this is the video for you. I received several comments and questions asking me, because of my specialty as occupational and public health specialist, how to become an occupational health physician, or how do I become a company doctor or a field doctor. I received several questions, so I had to write them down, and then I'll try to be answering these questions one by one. We may need to break this video down into different parts or several parts, like a series, in order for each video not to be very long for you. The first question is, can any doctor become a company doctor? Well, the answer to that is, I think, yes. Not any doctor means that you don't need any specialized training or any specialized course, but more like any doctor with any specialty or any background can easily become or adapt to be a company doctor. So let's say, for example, you have a background as a GP or as an orthopedician or as a surgeon, then definitely you can do some training and become a company doctor. What are the qualifications needed? This is a very important thing. If you would like to become a company doctor, you have to understand that you will always have to check the legal requirements. So you'll always be working with the legal requirements a lot. So you need to check based on the country where you operate or work. Do you require so you have to be very careful with this. Do you require any specific training or course to be licensed as an occupational medicine physician or a company doctor, or you can just apply right away? Some areas or some countries may allow you to become the medic, or become an occupational health nurse, for example, but not a doctor. It depends on so yes, you may be a doctor, but you're not allowed to become or to be called a doctor in some countries, but you may be called a medic. It depends on your validity or the validity of your license. The other thing is, sometimes if you're working on an international grounds or waters, let's say, for example, you're a physician on a cruise ship or on a ship that's moving from one country to another, then in this case you may be the doctor of this ship regardless of where the ship is, because the laws and the regulations that apply to you are the laws and regulations of the country of origin of this specific ship. So again, the direct answer for the qualifications needed is you need to check with the legal requirements of the country where you are operating. Okay. What is industrial hygiene? What's the difference between industrial hygiene and occupational health? This is another question that I got. So in occupational health, we're focusing on the person, the worker's health. So you're checking, let's say, I'll give you an example with noise. So if you're trying to check someone's hearing ability, or if they have any hearing loss, and you do a hearing test, we call it audiometry, then this is or an occupational health activity. On the other hand, an industrial hygienist would be monitoring the environment. It means that you'd be having a noise meter and trying to check the noise levels in the workplace. This doesn't mean that you as a company doctor may not be required to do the same thing, because you have to understand, in real life, and this is what this video is for, I'll try to make everything like real life based on my own experience. And I'll tell you about my story in the next question. You may have to do several roles like industrial hygiene, safety, occupational health, sometimes even admin or radio operator. It depends. Next question is, the best specialties for company doctor. Well, of course, being occupational health physician, this is a specialty on its own. So nowadays, I mean, before maybe it was not, and occupational medicine actually falls under public health. So you have public health, and before they were the same thing. And now occupational medicine separated and became a specialty on its own. If you are checking for the best background, let's say, for example, I would like to become a company doctor, but I am a surgeon, then yes, you can. That's a very good background. If I'm an orthopedician, that could be a very good background. Even general practitioner, yes, you can. Of course, any of these specialties can. If you take, let's say, for example, a diploma, a higher diploma in occupational medicine on top of your medical background, and then you can very nicely and easy become an occupational health doctor. The reason is, you have to understand that in real life, I mean, I have a master's degree in this area, and I've studied a lot of technical stuff under occupational medicine that you rarely apply in a real life situation. I mean, you're not working in a toxicology center, you know, you're working in a company or in a camp, and you're dealing with the daily activities. Yes, there may be some chemicals here or there. You'll have a list of them. You need to know the toxicology of these chemicals, how to control them, etc. But in the end, you'll be dealing with the regular complaints every day or injuries, which we're going to discuss. The next question, they asked me about my own story. Well, I started, again, I graduated, I've done my residency, and then one of my mentors, he was a pediatrician. So, by the way, this pediatrician was the country manager, health manager of that company that I worked with, that was an oil and gas Schlumberger. And he told me that he met me one day and he said, well, you're now done with your studying, would you like to become a company doctor? I said, well, I can try. And he suggested that I go and work with this company that does seismic surveys. It means that we roam around in the deserts or in sea or deserted or remote areas, and they try to check with seismic exploration different layers of the ground, and if there is any oil, gas or water, etc. in these areas. So this is what we do. And I had to go to a trial, like 1 week trial, and I joined that company. I was still a fresh graduate, and I went to a very, very far remote area in the desert in the Middle East. At the time I was serving in Egypt, and we spent, but it's a multinational corporation, and I spent 1 week trial. I had to check and report from one department to another, and they gave feedback on me, and then after that I decided to join. I was accepted, and that's how it started. And I'll tell you later on what else happened. The next question is, what are the types of contracts or the nature of working, you know, with companies? So do you work full-time or do you work part-time or whatever? So I'll answer this question, and then we'll end this video, and then I'll make another video for the rest of the questions so that the videos will not be very long. So the answer to this question is, it depends, of course. I mean, I was full-time, so it depends. Maybe you can be a full-time doctor. Sometimes you can be a part-time doctor. It also depends on the location, I believe. So you can be full-time, part-time. You may even be deployed through different agencies. So let's say, for example, some of my colleagues were sometimes working as part-time doctors. They'd visit a company once or twice a week just to do the paperwork, to check some of the employees or some of the legal complaints related to occupational health or compensation or things like that. They spend their hours and then they go. Of course, this will also vary, because let's say you're full-time. Now that's a problem, because whom do you report to? Sometimes this is a conflict that you need to have, to pay attention to, because if you're reporting to the manager of the site, sometimes there'll be a conflict of interest that you are not independent. I mean, there should be a way that the occupational health physician should report directly to the top management without being biased by or affected by the local management or the management of the team. So again, it depends where do you work. For example, you can be in an office, it's only one company or one branch, but sometimes there are several branches. I used to work in camps, and we report, so all the doctors would report to the country manager of this company. So I think this will be the end of this short video, and then next video we'll continue with the questions. Thank you.